well. So come to standing. This again is going to be quite a gentle class. It's a mindfulness class. It's a different one from the one that we've done before. So just start, as we so often do, by lifting and rolling your shoulders. And again, lift and roll the shoulders. And then inhaling, raise your arms, clasp and reverse the palms, press your feet into the ground and your palms upwards. Breathing out, go to one side, it's a lateral stretch. And the aim is to try and keep your head evenly between your arms. And I can see I'm failing miserably there, but I can still give the instruction. Chin tucks in. Inhaling, stand up. And breathing out, go to the other side so that the head is vaguely between the arms. Don't judge me. And then coming up to center. Breathing out, just turn slightly to one side. Inhaling, come back to center. Breathing out, turn to the other side. And inhale, come back to the center. If you can bear to have your arms still above your head, if not, put them on your waist, lift your heels. It's a balance and a focus. Breathing out, lower your heels. And breathing in. Breathing out, lower your arms to shoulder height. Breathing when you go out, turn to look beyond the third finger of one hand. Breathe into the center. And breathing out, turn to look beyond the third finger of the other hand. Breathing into the center. And then lower your arms by your side. Lift and roll your shoulders. Step your feet a little bit apart, and I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what I mean. And just hands either on your thighs or on your waist. Bend your knees and your bottom goes away from you. You'll feel your abdominal control just slightly engaging. Inhaling, press your feet down to roll up to standing. And then just lift and roll your shoulders. Clasp your hands behind your back and aim the knuckles to the floor and stand up. This opens the shoulders. This point here and here are your L1 and L2 points that connect to your lungs. So you're opening your lung capacity. And for anybody, me included, with hay fever and allergies and asthma would come into that as well, would be brilliant for this. Release your arms. And once more, lift and roll your shoulders. And then either hold your wrists or hold your elbows. Or the third, they call it an expression, would be to hold your palms behind your back. And your elbows open, turning to the left. Come back to the center and breathing out, turn to the right. And come back to the center and lower your hands and release them. And then inhaling, raising your arms up, either looking straight ahead or looking up, stretching your fingers, and breathing out, lowering your hands. And lift and roll your shoulders. Raise one arm. This time as you breathe out, look to the inside towards your outstretched arm. Come back to the center and breathing out, lower your arm. And then breathing in, raise the other arm. Breathing out, turn to look to the inside, the seam of that arm. Come back to the center with your head and breathing out, lower your arm. And then lift and roll your shoulders. And wrists float up, and wrists float down. And again, floating your wrists up. You only go as high as it's appropriate for you, and then floating down. Lift and roll your shoulders. Just turn your head gently to one side. Bring your head to the center, and breathing out, turn your head gently to the other side. Come back to the center. Bring your hands to your chest. Bend your knees and come to lying on your back, however appropriately you might like to do that. So we're going to start actually in corpse pose, which is not necessarily what I normally do. So that's lying on the ground. Your feet are relaxed and out to the side. If you have a back problem, you can always optionally bend your knees. But just take a moment or two, or a breath or two, to let your body feel heavy on the ground. The bones are sinking down. The ground supports your pelvis, and just notice the points of your body that connect with the ground. Just place your hands on your abdomen. Your elbows might like to go out a little bit. And as you breathe, just notice your abdomen and any movement it might make, expanding very slightly on the inhalation and coming back to your spine as you breathe out. And in the same way that we have our physical diaphragm connecting to our lungs, we also have another mirroring diaphragm at our pelvic area. It's almost like the pelvic floor. And these two are connected. So as we breathe in and breathe out, the diaphragms align. And then bringing your attention to your left leg, feel that you can make any adjustment with your legs or feet that you might like to. And pick up your left leg and hug your left leg into your chest. At the moment, your right leg is stretched out along the ground, but you've always got the option to bend the right knee if your lower back is playing you up. But for the moment, you're just stretching your left leg. And this pose, its English name is knee to chest pose. And the Sanskrit name is Apanasana, or a variation of Apanasana. It's one half of Apanasana on one side. And the Apana refers to one of the 5 energies. The Apana energy is the foundational energy that runs from the lower pelvic area down through the legs to the floor. And it's part of our elimination process. So particularly with this hot weather, one of the things that can happen is that our digestive system slows up and slugs up. So this is a very good pose, partly for the lower back, but also for that Apana energy, just setting the scene for all the other energies. So it's useful to release any stuck energy. And then very, very gently release that left leg down back to the floor. Stretch it out along the ground. And then we're going to bring our attention to our right leg as we bend the right leg up and hug the right knee into the chest. Again, this is the Apana energy that we're working on. Technically speaking, we should, but it's optional, to be absolutely correct, you would engage your left leg and left heel, extend your left toes to be up, to absolutely be completely correct in yoga. but you can just relax your left leg. There is, I suppose, an added benefit in extending the left heel. You're beginning to activate the leg muscles either side of your leg, the ones that support you. So you do what you'd like. And then very gently, just release your right leg back down along the floor. And just bounce your legs. And just sway your feet from side to side, toes out, away from you, and then big toes more together. It's an invert-evert movement. Toes out away from the midline is evert, and then toes, big toes in towards each other. They might even touch as invert. So it's just a very gentle wake up for the feet. And then bend your left leg and your right leg and place your right ankle on your left knee and open your right knee outwards. So this is the very beginning of an upside down pigeon pose. It's also preparation for lotus. You can just sway your knees from side to side. And if you feel you'd like a stronger stretch, then this is optional for you to lift your left foot from the floor, clasp your hands underneath your left thigh, and you'll notice that your knees come closer to your face. It's a figure of four, really, and you'll feel a pull on your outside of the right hip. And that muscle that you can feel pulling is something called the piriformis muscle, connecting the leg femur to the hip, and is very much implicated in lower back issues. If you want to go a little bit further, then you can clasp your left knee in front of the knee, and that's a whole step up. Check that your chin isn't shooting up to the ceiling. And if you want to go a stage further, then bring your left knee towards your face, and that will really press on your piriformis. This is a very safe bridge pigeon alternative because you haven't got the weight of your body, and so you can leave this within your control. Whereas with pigeon, you plonk your whole weight on your body, although you can lift up, but this anyway is an alternative to pigeon. And then release that your left foot goes back on the floor. Take your right ankle away from, release your right foot down to the ground. Your hands can be resting on your abdomen or alongside you as you just gently sway both knees from side to side. And in swaying your knees side to side, just notice the massage you're giving your upper, bottom, lower, your sacral area, your almost on the bottom area, you've got a major acupressure point there. And then switching to the other side. So keeping your, just trying to think of it, keeping your right leg where it is, picking up your left leg and opening your left leg to the side. If I've got that the wrong way round, please do. I just can't keep my right and my left, but just come to the other side. And just gently let your knees sway from side to side. And then you can stay like that, or you can lift your foot off the ground, both feet, clasp underneath your, in my case, the right leg, and feel that on my left outer thigh. And I can stay like that, enjoying that stretch. Or you can go one stage further and hug in front of your knee, your right knee, or my right knee. The checkpoint is that your chin's not shooting up to the ceiling. If it is, either lower your chin, and if that's not possible, then you've gone a step too far, so go back to the previous pose. And you can also explore here, if it makes any difference to you, whether you extend your heels. So if I extend my top left heel, I can feel that a little bit more in my piriformis, but not so much my bottom leg. And then bring your knee closer to your face if you are there and you want to do that. That's quite a stretch. You'll feel that it's opening you up at the sacral area, so it's creating space for blood to flow through your discs, and this where it's opening space is often where your discs can get compressed in everyday life, sitting, standing, walking, whatever you're doing. And then just release both legs back down to the ground. Take your left foot off, both feet on the ground, both knees upright. And take your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. Your hands can once more be on your abdomen, elbows out, or they can be alongside your palms down. And just once more sway your knees from side to side. Your hip lifts off the ground as you sway your knees. And how much you sway your knees and how much you lift your hip is up to you. And if you want to include your neck in this, you can gently move your head away from the direction of your knees so that you are moving the top and all the way through your spine at the top and the base. And the purpose of moving like this, like all rotations, this is a very basic or very simple one, is to just gently almost pull the muscles along the spine. So you're stretching and releasing one side and then stretching and releasing on the other side. So if there's any tightness or imbalance on either side of your spine, then this is an opportunity to just begin to redress that balance and become aware of it. And then hug your knees into your chest and gently rock from side to side. And then roll onto your hands and knees to come into a very simple cat position, taking your time. With this very hot weather, of course, it would be secondly obvious to say that there's a tendency to dehydrate, but you need liquid for your jelly and discs, vertebral health all the way along your spine. So very slow movement is very helpful. So in cat, your hands are placed on the floor, your thumb, mounted your big thumb and second finger pressing into the ground, your fingers are spaced apart. Inside of your elbows, seams of your elbows are facing one another. Your knees are comfortably however much you want them apart. And this is very simple, dipping your back, either looking along the ground if that has a neck problem for you, or looking up if your neck is happy with that. And breathing out, rounding, chin comes chest. So not only this, and we repeat this in your own time, not only does cat-cow start to move the spine up, getting the very soft movement into the spine, but it also starts to activate the very gentle digestive system. As you're dipping your back, you're stretching the lower abdominal area. And as you are coming into cow and rounding your back, you're just gently compressing that area. So almost like a push-pull movement of just gently pulsing the blood through your abdominal system, giving it space, and then fresh blood comes in. Very slow, very focused, very gentle. And then when you next come to do your cat and then particularly into your cow, round your back, Tuck your toes under. Your tummy or lower abdomen comes slightly in towards your spine. That engages your core, engages your abdominal muscles fractionally, only 10% of your capacity, and that protects your lower back. I like to bring my bottom slightly to my heels, almost as slightly with my hands towards me, and then I lift one knee and then the other, and gently push my bottom away from my hands. My knees are very bent. And then I can start to straighten my legs. You don't have to aim your heels to the ground, just in the general direction of the ground. And take your time to spread your feet wider if you need to do this and to make any adjustments. You can keep your knees permanently bent, which allows you to stretch out your back, or begin to straighten your legs. You might like to walk the dog by bending one knee and straightening at a time. And you might like to bend both knees and straighten both knees. Just check that your neck is relaxed. The inside of your elbows are aimed towards each other to preserve the integrity of that inner arm seam, and that your hands are placed properly. And then very, very gently walk your feet to your hands to your feet. Or in a forward bend, and then bend your knees. And very, very gently roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Take your time and use your hands to support you to come upright. And when you're upright, just lift and roll your shoulders. Reset your pose by having your feet hip width apart and lift your toes, stretch them, and then place your toes, if that's possible, it might not be, one at a time back down on the ground. It doesn't matter if you start with your big toe or your little toe, so that your toes are spread out. Just press into the big toe mound, and then just press into the little toes. So you're really balancing your feet. And now just tense your knees. Feel what muscles are engaging on either side of your leg and relax your knees. Place your hands just below your navel, which is your hara or your dantian. So hara in yoga, dantian in the Chinese medicine world. And that's your core, your center. This part of your abdomen links to your brain. So there's a brain, belly or gut link. And then keep one hand there and take one hand to the chest and feel that there is a silver thread or a piece of cotton or a link between the chest and the hand, that you're not slumping forward and you're not overstretched, you're just, it's not bending the link. And then release your hands as you lift and roll your shoulders. Gently turn your head from side to side. And then have a sense as you're standing, are you leaning forward? If you were looking sideways in the mirror, are you leaning backwards or are you centered? Because all of this has quite a bearing on the effort that your body has to make to keep you upright. So then step your feet out to the classic yoga instruction would be 3 feet, which is terribly wide, but a comfortable line. And we're going to be doing a modified version of triangle. So I'm going to turn my right foot out and my left foot comes in slightly, almost 45 degrees. If you're already wobbling, then do put your right front foot out further to the edge of the mat. And if you feel that you want to make your stance, your distance of your feet wider, then please do that. Place your left hand on your waist and really open up the shoulder level. So you're opening your L1, L2 points here, which connect into your lungs. And in this version of triangle, keep the shoulder and the elbow back as you're opening here. Right arm in front of you, stretch, and then place your right arm anywhere that it touches on your shin. Open your left shoulder, slide your right hand down, keeping your shoulder open. For your head, you can either look down at your foot, look straight ahead, your chin tucks in, or if you're particularly triangle motivated, lovely demonstration, Patsy's there, lifting her hand up. And the arm up should be parallel, or should almost straight line with the arm down. You really have to press your feet into the ground to maintain the balance. And to come out, I'm going to suggest that you look down to your front right foot, soften your knee, your front knee, as you come back up again. Hands out. Come to bring your front right foot in, and then turn it in again 45 degrees and turn your left foot out. Bring your right hand onto your waist. Stretch forward, making sure that your right shoulder is as open and your right elbow as back as possible. Tummy in as you bring your hand onto the shin. Feel as you open up that you are wedged between two sheets of glass, because you're not coming forward. And then just slide your hand down, either looking down, looking straight ahead, chin tucks in, or if you want to, you can look up. And feel that someone is just putting their hand on your right hip and on the right shoulder, just bringing you back. And then tummy in, press your feet down, slide your hands up, and keeping that stance, come now into Warrior Two. So looking beyond your third finger of your left hand, soften your front left knee and drop your weight centrally. And just feel the stretch, it's very grounding. Press your feet into the ground and see how that lifts you up. And again, if in this pose you can think of pressing difficult, your front big toe and your little toe in at the same time on both feet, that stops you rolling in. It's quite difficult to do, think of that. And then just breathing out, lower your hands. Come to bring your feet parallel. And then turn in the other direction as you turn your front right foot out and your left foot comes in. And then coming in to your Warrior Two here. Soften your front right knee. Drop your weight centrally. You can always drop your back arm and hold your left waist if you want to do that. And then just see if your back left foot is lifting off. So just again, readjust your foot, pressing the mound of your big toe down and your little toe to open your foot back up and stop it rolling. And then breathing out, lowering your hands. Lift and roll your shoulders. Bring your feet parallel. And just, you might want to adjust it in a little bit. Make a Tai Chi type ball you're holding at the top and the bottom. Leading with your elbows, breathing out and leading with your tummy. Go to one side, as little as much as you'd like, and then swap your ball over to come back. and then to one side, reverse and come back. To one side and reverse and come back, and drop your hands onto your thighs. Feet are parallel, even turning in slightly, your big toes. Really bend your knees, really bring the bottom away from you, and slide your hands down. If you can manage to get your hands to the floor, great. If not, hold wherever you can. And feel that you can bend your knees as much as you need to get down. And once you're down, just shift weight from side to side. Shifting your weight to one side, coming to the centre and shifting your weight to the other side. And now just let your head rest, drop down. There's no tension in the neck. You're just going from side to side. We're doing a forward bend, right leg forward bend, which compensates for the slight turning that we did in the triangle. So it's basically balancing our spine. And then big toes come inwards. We call it heel toe. Heels go out, inwards and toes go out. Toes go in and heels go out. And when you feel your feet are close enough, you've got control, really bend both knees, press down with your feet, and then once more roll up for standing. You have to roll your shoulders. So with tree pose, you can hold on, or I'm sure some of you are expert at this. You can just keep your foot on the ground and hold on. Or you can do a greater tree pose. So with tree pose, one thing you don't want is to put so much weight onto wherever you are that you're pushing, I don't know if you can see, you're pushing your outer hip out so that you're burning your leg. It's really important, otherwise you're putting extra strain on your hip. But a tree pose however you want to, whether your hands at the heart or above, or you want to do this hand on the tummy. So tree pose, a balance, it's inviting the left and the right side of the brain to focus, which is also strengthening the leg muscles of the leg that you're standing on. So it's, again, a rebalancing of your posture. And then when you feel that you'd like to come out of that, gently come out. And then, of course, we're going to switch to the other side. And again, it really does invite your side of the body on the leg that you're standing on to balance up and to really focus on where the weight's going. Plus it's left-right brain coordination. And then lower the hand. And then very gently bring your hands to your heart. And we're going to come once more back down to the ground, but this time we're going to unusually lie on our tummies. So come to kneeling first, and then come into lying on the tummy. And come this way, and we're going to come to a very, very gentle Sphinx pose. So with the Sphinx pose, the elbows are in front of you. The further out you put your elbows, the softer the angle on the lower back. You'll look at the ground. So that the back of your neck's long. And I think I might have said that in restorative yoga, you would hold this pose for about 5 minutes, but we're not going to do that. You might feel that you like to have your knees a little bit wider. If you roll your bottom from side to side, it's beginning to come into a sacroiliac jelly wobble, nice rebalancing for the lower back. But then Take your elbows really out to the side, one hand on top of the other, or make a fist, and just rest your forehead on your hand, the backs of your hands. You can look straight down, or you can turn your head to one side. Then bend your actual knees, so the soles of the feet are up to the ceiling. And then just rock your feet gently from side to side. It should feel quite nice. It should be, well, in a strange way, it's quite nice on the lower back. And then bring your feet to the centre, lower your legs back down to the ground. If you want, particularly being doing a lot of gardening, and your lower back has caused you problems, and there is a sacroiliac kind of wobble or a lower back, not sure about this. If you tuck one toe under of your one leg, I'm going to tuck my right toes under. My right heel goes up to the ceiling, and then I'm going to lift my entire right leg and stretch my right heel back. And that stretches out all across the hip area. I'm going to release my leg back down to the ground, uncurl my feet, let my heel drop out to the side and wobble my bottom from side to side. And then tucking my left toes under, keeping them on the ground, extend my left heel back, lift the entire left leg off the ground and stretch the left leg back. Release everything to the ground, let both heels drop out to the side and then wobble your bottom from side to side. So from here, lift up onto your elbows, bring your elbows in slightly. You can either lift up into child, or you can roll to the side and take your time to come to kneeling, and then come to not complete child, but I'm going to invite you to keep your elbows on the ground, bottom is up in the air, like a hare, or rabbit, and your head towards the ground. You can move your bottom slightly from side to side. It's just a releaser, the lower back. And then very gently come to move your hands towards you. Come now to actually sitting in cobbler's pose or Baddha Konasana. So the soles of the feet come together. And how much you want to do this is again up to you. You can hold your feet in the front. You can hold your ankles. You can hold your shins. You're opening the lymph, your inner groin, the lymph nodes at the lower groin level. And just, you can bounce your knees if you'd like to. And then release and slide your legs out so that they're in quite a big V, a wide angle. Lift the flesh out from under your bottom, keeping that wide V. Sitting up, hands just lightly touch the ground to encourage your spine to lengthen. And then just slide your hands down your legs. Feel that there's a length in your spine from your tailbone to the top of the head. You can slide down however much you like. You can even, if you're there, can hold your big toes. But if not, just slide your hands to where you feel that that's quite nice for you. Extending your heels, you'll feel the psoas muscle on the inner side of your leg. The space between your vertebrae is increased. It encourages breath into the back. Encourages a different type of breathing. And of course, the adrenal glands deep inside us are sitting on top of the kidneys, so that's just again nourishing that kidney adrenal area. And then sliding your hands back up again. And bend your right knee, bringing your right sole of the foot towards your left outstretched leg. Hands either side of you to lift you up. Hands up. Turn towards the outstretched left leg. If the back doesn't bother you, come straight down. Otherwise, bend your elbows and just slide your hands down. So this is head to knee pose. The head forward, like the last pose, is very calming for the nervous system. It's a much stronger hip opener here. And it's a very slight rotation, balancing the long muscles along the back. And then gently slide your hands up your left leg. Take one hand under your thigh, your right thigh, to support the thigh if you need that to lift it up. And come back to your wide-legged position. Toes up to the ceiling and then toes stretching away from you a couple of times. Hands either side of you to support and lengthen your spine. And then you can lift up your left leg. Yoga tradition says that as you lift your leg, where it falls is where it falls. But of course, we tend to use our hands and lift the leg in. So do whatever you feel is right. And you can always take a cushion underneath this left thigh if you need that. Your right heel should be extended and your right toe should be up to the ceiling. But again, don't worry too much. Lengthen your spine. And as you lift your hands, turn towards your right outstretched leg and come down however you feel like it. Either your hands straight down or bend your elbows and slide your hands down. One side will inevitably feel slightly different from the other. So you only slide or turn as much as you would like to. Again, calming the nervous system, and the back of the neck is extended, stretched. And this action of stretching the back of the neck with the chin down activates something called the vagus nerve. It's tied into the chin down towards the chest, which is the chin lock called Jalandhara Bandha. But the vagus nerve is very much implicated in a lot of things, but inflammation is one of them. So this is indeed a calming pose. And then slide your hands up and just bend and support your legs. And then have your knees, both of them, up. I'm going to take my left hand and hold my right knee or my right thigh. Just in. My right hand goes behind me. I'm sitting up and just turning to the right. My elbow is across both legs, knees, so it's just as a support. Come back to the center and just hug both knees, coming forward. And sitting up again, my right hand comes across, holding my left leg. My left hand goes behind. I lift up and I turn. The head should be the last thing to turn. You lengthen the spine first and then you turn a little bit. And then come back to the center. Just come forward a little bit to neutralize that turn that you've made. And then just slide your legs out in front of you. Hands slide down your shins, and it's just a straightforward, subtle forward bend. Your toes should be up to the ceiling, and your heels should be extended, again stretched into the back and sides of the legs. You don't have to come down very far, but if you want to hold your big toes,
then you're welcome to do so, or even hold the outer edges of your feet. Depends where you're at. The further you come down, the more you'll stretch into the backs of the legs and stretch your hamstrings. And then walk your hands up. Carry on with your hands so that they just come almost in a Dandasana seated movement, just slightly behind you. So they're on the floor. Press your hands down and lift at the chest. If that's good for your neck, look up slightly. You're disconnecting the eyes from the stress centers of the brain, but also you're lifting your chest. So it's very anti-depressing, so it's mood enhancing. And then come back to the center. And come to once more. You're going to be coming to on your backs, hugging your knees into your chest. Apanasana. Giving space at the lower back. Letting the earth support you. Now cross your right leg over your left, proper crossover. Put your hands, palms down on the ground, and now put your left foot on the ground. It gives you extra support. And just try letting your right knee, do say if you're not following me, let your right knee and your left knee drop over to the left. Your hip will lift as you come into a reclined twist. Your right foot, your both feet are on the ground. And then you can potentially look to the right. Make sure your right shoulder is dropping away from your ear. And take an in and an out breath here. And to come out of this, just engage your abdomen slightly, your lower abdomen inwards to protect your back. Use your bottom left foot to press down to bring your knees up to the center. Uncross your legs. And then cross your left foot over your right leg. My hands are still palms down to support you. And let both knees drop over now to the right. Your left hip will lift off the ground. You can either look straight up or you can look to the left. And even as you look to the left, you can look up or look further along the floor. Further along the floor stretches the neck more, so you might want to have a softer option of looking up or just wherever you feel like it. You really feel that opening or a reclining twist. And again, to come out of that, tummy or abdomen slightly comes in 10%, 20% of your capacity. Engaging your tummy muscles supports and gives added support for your back. Come with your knees up to the center. Unravel your legs. And then once more, come to hugging your knees into your chest. Just gently rocking from side to side. Place your feet on the floor and stretch your legs out in front of you into, for a moment, corpse position. Just let everything go. Tense your feet, physically tense them, scrunch them up and release. Tense your knees and release. Tense your bottom and release. Consciously lift your chest slightly away from the floor and consciously release your back down to the floor. Again, consciously raise your shoulders up towards your ears and consciously move your shoulders down away from your ears. Move your head from side to side. feel that someone's smoothing your face from the centre, across the forehead, out to the temples, and the nose and the cheeks, out, and from the chin, centre of the chin, out along the jawbones. Then once more, hug your knees into your chest. And taking really your time to come into a seated position for a very short meditation. So being comfortable, your hands can be resting in your lap. They can be resting on your knees. Your second finger will be touching your thumb, or they can be resting upright, whichever you prefer. Hands down is gesture of consciousness in Jnana. Hands down is gesture of knowledge in Jnana Mudra, and hands up is gesture of consciousness where you receive down as knowledge. So just closing your eyes or looking along the floor and breathing in, just notice the air at your nostrils. Cooler as you go in, slightly warmer as you come out. There's nothing for you to do, just notice. And in your mind's eye, just try and follow the breath for as long as you can. If it just disappears halfway down, don't worry. And feel the breath then pause as it turns around and comes out. And the air is going to be slightly warmer as it moves through your nostrils. And now shift your mind and your breath to breathe in and out through the centre of your forehead, the third eye. Breathing in through the third eye. And as you breathe out, the breath turns around in the centre of your head and just leaves. And it takes with it anything you don't want, any thoughts from that centre of knowledge and intuition of your third eye that you don't need or want. Just let it go. Breathing in through the third eye. And then breathing out. And one last time, breathing in. And breathing out. And now just gently drop the chin to your chest. Bring your hands to your heart centre and take a bow for yourself for a lovely day ahead. And thank you very much indeed.